Hi guys, welcome back. So I'm going to start today's video off with a little bit of a rant because I am still very much annoyed over this whole H.R.H. business. I think it is a big deal. I think it's so disrespectful, and I think it's another way for Meghan to still be sticking her fingers up, not just at the royal family, but at this great dear lady. Harry and Meghan both went out of their way to cause as much pain and hurt to Queen Elizabeth in her final years, starting with Oprah when her dearly beloved husband Prince Philip was in his final days of being on this earth. Harry was deliberately cruel when he refused to come over for his grandfather's memorial, citing it was because of his security being stripped. Again, it was another middle finger to his grandmother. Then, of course, if you remember back to when Megxit was even first declared, they didn't even have the decency to have sat down and told the Queen of their intentions. They actually told the media more than what they had told any members of the royal family. Not only that, through the media, they gave the Queen a list of demands of exactly what privileges they will be keeping. So of course she said, "Not on my watch," and then they shot back and said that the Queen doesn't own the word royal. And of course another big insult that they did to the Queen, which people said, oh, it was a lovely sweet gesture, and that was they took her private nickname for their youngest child. They could have easily just called her Lily, which is a modern and very pretty name for a little girl. The fact is they deliberately took her full name as a middle finger to the Queen. This was done out of vengeance. It was done to upset her and hurt her, which it reportedly did. Lilibet is not a name. It was the Queen's nickname that was used by her nearest and dearest. When Harry and Meghan announced that they had got permission from the Queen, it was soon proven that that was not true. And if they had have waited to get permission from the Queen after the birth of their daughter, why had they already purchased the domain names of lilibetdiana.com and lilydiana.com? It was of course bullshit. They lied, and they did that to hurt the Queen. Meghan and Harry are constantly behaving like a pair of teenagers that are rebelling against their parents because they've been told no. When they got married, they were gifted their titles, his and her Royal Highnesses, and of course the dukedom. It was a gift from the Queen, but only given because they were to be senior working royals. In a way, it was a job title. When they said they were leaving, they were told that they could no longer use their H.R.H. titles. It was obviously an understanding which they had agreed to. If, of course, the Queen had had a crystal ball and she had seen Oprah, Netflix and Spare, I am certain that she would have actioned Parliament to strip the lot from them. But alas, she did not have the gift of foresight, but I doubt many would be able to predict that even many years after her death, Meghan would be finding new ways to still disrespect our much beloved and late Queen. But here we are, and Meghan is still flipping the middle finger to Queen Elizabeth II. After all of her tales of woe, the horror stories of the evil monarchy crushing her very essence, it just makes her look more ridiculous and hypocritical for using it. It doesn't matter if she used it on a personal basis or whether it's for commercial ventures. At the end of the day, she should not be using it at all. I think we all know the game that Meghan was playing. She deliberately got Jamie Kern-Lima to post that, knowing that it would cause the reaction that it did, knowing that the newspapers would jump all over it, knowing that social media, the royal watchers, lots of people would be definitely aggravated by it, and they would then talk about it. But talking about it means, much like I am now, it put Meghan in the headlines on Catherine and William's wedding anniversary. Now, moving away from that odious couple, let's talk about a couple that everybody loves, who are looking, as I said, particularly loved up on their 14th wedding anniversary as they went around the Isle of Mull. They had quite the spectacular first day as they toured the gorgeous Isle of Mull, and it makes me want to go. Catherine looked amazing. She'd lightened her hair colour for spring and she looks absolutely gorgeous. gorgeous. They had an incredible welcome from the many islanders and then, of course, lots of tourists who were there on holiday. They first paid a visit to the H.R.H community hub, where they were gifted a card and flowers for their anniversary. They started off exploring the new children's play area, chatting to some of the parents, with Catherine naturally being drawn to some of the younger visitors to the community centre. Then they got stuck in to help him with a little bit of DIY as they fixed the new pantry sign to be displayed on the wall. The way Catherine's looking at William made me laugh in this photograph because perhaps she's the one that handles the DIY at home. They had a dab at painting inside the centre, which is benefiting from a renovation grant from the Royal Foundation. And Catherine had painted a lovely little flower on the wall before encouraging Prince William to have a go. Apparently, Catherine is the artist at home, according to William, of which that there is no competition. Well, that makes a change for the normally competitive couple. After leaving the centre, they spent time greeting even more people that had arrived to welcome the couple to the island. And they stopped by at an artisan market where Catherine was gifted honey and Prince William bought a load of products which are handmade locally from hand-harvested seaweed. After they finished up at the market, they then went to visit a croft, which is a small Scottish farm that is championing sustainability, where they spent time learning about the various farming practices. The final photograph of the day that I saw was this one. How beautiful and romantic is that? Some of you guys that saw me on the Vintage Read show, I can tell you that it looks very similar to where my husband and I go on holiday to Scotland each year. We go to a place called the Isle of Carna and it looks like this. So this year I'm going to take my camera and my tripod and I am going to try to reenact this photograph so we can have one printed for our wall. Now on day 2, the couple visited Ardura Forest and didn't they look the stylish pair? The Prince and Princess met with countryside rangers from the Isle of Mull and Iona, coinciding with their Royal Foundation announcing funding to support them through its United for Wildlife programme. Catherine was certainly in her happy place as they also met with children from Lochdownhead Primary School who were there learning all about the forest and nature. This is another reason why Catherine was so perfect to become co-president of the Scouts Association, because she loves being outdoors, she loves outdoor activities and is always championing the importance of children and adults getting out into nature as much as possible. So speaking about the Scouts, this brings me on to my next royal story. On Monday the 28th of May, the Duke of Kent, who I have to say was looking rather well, was honouring several young people with the King's Scout Award. The award is for the highest recognition in scouting, adventure and skills development. The Duke was joined on stage with Chief Scout Dwayne Fields, looking rather smiley in this photograph, who we saw a few weeks back when Catherine went to visit some scouts. Both Catherine and the Duke are joint presidents of the association, with the Duke being involved with the organisation for 50 years. At 89 years old, it's lovely to still see him involved with the many organisations and charities that he's had, of course, over many, many decades. But this, of course, is what I mentioned at the end of my last video. With a lot of the senior royals, they are gradually retiring and stepping back and handing over the patronages and the charities. The Duke of Kent's younger sister, Princess Alexandra, she is only a year younger herself. And then his youngest brother, Prince Michael of Kent, is 82. Both he and his wife, Princess Michael of Kent, do not carry out any royal engagements anymore and retired from public duty in 2022. With the Duke and Duchess of Gloucester being 80 and 78, the senior royals are becoming real seniors. And this is where I say that they are going to need more boots on the ground. They are going to need the younger royals to start stepping up. Now, Lady Louise, she, in my opinion, is too young. And not only that, I believe that she wants an academic career. She was given the choice of taking her princess title when she came of age at 18 years old, but she chose not to. Maybe things will change in a few decades when she's had some life experiences, a career, marriage, children, whatever path that she chooses to take. But for now, like her brother, I would say that she is too young to even want to go into a life of of royal duties. Now, obviously, Harry and Meghan's not even worth mentioning their names alongside the real royals because, you know, they are excommunicado, as is, of course, Prince Andrew. Nobody wants to see those three in public duties ever again. In fact, I think some people would prefer to see the monarchy abolished before they saw Harry and Meghan doing any sort of public duties. So, suggestions from me. Mike and Zara Tindall. Now, this isn't about becoming full taxpayer-funded working senior royals. We've obviously got our royals that can take care of that. Sophie and Prince Edward, many, many decades ahead of them. Princess Anne, I mean, she's just a formidable woman, and I mean that in the most positive way. She has her father's grit, her mother's sense of duty. Princess Anne will probably still be carrying out engagements many, many decades from now. But this is where I think having some part-time royals could really help with the workload, especially with the number of charities and patronages that are all under the royal umbrella. I think Mike and Zara Tindall would be good at anything sport-related, anything to do with horses. I'm not saying tiaras and state banquets, as I'm certain that's not even something that I'm sure that either one of them would be remotely interested in either. But I do think that they would be good, as the public like them, they enjoy reading about them, and they enjoy seeing them. And this is the thing, you need to be a likeable royal. The whole thing is the royals attend events, engagements, charities, all sorts of community projects. The newspapers cover them because the public like reading about them. And Mike and Zara are a really likeable and quite funny couple as well. So then we come to my other two suggestions. One of them, I know you're already straight away going to be rolling your eyes going, nope, Taz, no. But hear me out. I am, of course, talking about the two York princesses who recently visited the Teenage Cancer Trust unit at University College Hospital with their mother, Fergie, Duchess of York. And it got me thinking that these two would be good carrying out royal duties. So we're going to start with Princess Beatrice, who I love. I think she is perfect for a royal role. She's loyal to her family, to the crown. She adored her grandparents and has always come across as a really lovely person. She does involve herself with lots of charities and has done so for many years, often quietly, and even has a few personal patronages herself. Both she and Edo are a lovely couple, and he's really brought out the best in Beatrice. She's like a bright light bulb around him because it's obvious that they absolutely adore each other. So yes, Princess Beatrice becoming a working royal, absolutely. Now we're going to move on to Princess Eugenie. Lots of people don't like Princess Eugenie, and I've really looked into this, and it comes down to two main reasons. First of all, she was mean to Catherine. Now, I do believe the stories that she wasn't particularly nice to Catherine when Catherine first joined the royal family. There was an awful lot of snobbery from those sort of circles to do with Catherine's upbringing, the fact that she's not blue blood, the fact that her mother was an air stewardess. There was quite a lot of nasty things that were said. Catherine and Pippa were named the Wisteria sisters, and one person in that family is known for being particularly snobbish, and that happens to be the Duke of York, Prince Andrew. I believe that Prince Andrew probably looked down his nose at Catherine, and of course that would carry on down to his daughters. That being said, this is many, many, many years ago, and there's been no evidence of any big nasty fallouts. There's been no whispers of it, just a few photographs, and I've seen far more photographs of Catherine and Eugenie getting along with each other. Yes, okay, they may not be the best of friends, but who actually is close with every single person in their family? Everybody grows up, don't they? Eugenie's got married, she's become a mother herself, she has watched Catherine go through cancer, her mother's had cancer. I mean, there's a lot of life-changing things that have happened between her being a teenager to her being the woman that she is now. And the fact that Carol Middleton was very warm and affectionate with Princess Eugenie, which makes me think that they all know each other very well. And Princess Charlotte, this photograph from Eugenie and Jack's wedding was absolutely gorgeous. So if Carol Middleton, Catherine's mother, likes her, and then Catherine's daughter, Princess Charlotte, likes Princess Eugenie, that to me is good enough. Now, another reason why many of you do not like her, you believe that she is a traitor, because of this. Many struggle after Harry's betrayal of the Queen and Prince Philip. How could she go spend time with them? How could she go out to dinner and bike rides in California with them? So I've actually got a theory about this. I believe that Eugenie would have done anything to protect her father. I believe that she would even go over there and make nice with Harry and Meghan in hope that when they do their next trashing and attacking the royal family, that they won't bring Andrew into it. And funnily enough, Meghan and Harry have never attacked Andrew. So I believe that that was a tactic that worked. When the Queen died and it came to the funeral, Eugenie and Jack avoided Harry and Meghan. Even outside after the service, when Harry and Meghan got in the car looking rather exasperated, Jack effectively had done what Prince William did with a scarf once, and he did it with his glasses. They were not close. Now, obviously, we found out through the media that Harry and Meghan were behaving absolutely disgusting from the moment that the Queen died, with demands and arguments, Meghan to go up to Balmoral, with leaks happening, with obviously photographs that were conveniently taken. He was moaning about his uniform. They tried to stage a paparazzi stunt where they went walking without Catherine and William to go collect the flowers. Everything that they did made it harder on everyone around them when the Queen died. I don't believe deep down that Eugenie knew that they were going to use footage of her going over to Montecito in the Netflix stunt. And then obviously again, after Spare and all of the attacks that Harry and Meghan have done, Eugenie hasn't been seen with them since. She has not gone over there. There were stories that Harry and Meghan went to Portugal to meet them. Sorry, but no photographs. I don't believe that story at all. So I think honestly that that friendship has been terminated. The fact is that she went out to lunch with Piers Morgan as well, you know, and obviously there is a lot of bad blood between Meghan, Harry and him. There were stories that came out that Harry blew up, which their sources have now batted back and says, oh no, they're closer than ever before. I'm sorry, I just don't believe it. Prince William is known as being the Lion of Windsor. He has very, very strict rules when it comes to trust. That's why I don't believe he will ever forgive Harry for everything that he has done. Not only that, he is incredibly fiercely protective of his family, including Catherine. I think that if he thought even for a tiny nanosecond that Eugenie was spying or Eugenie was giving information to Harry and Meghan, he wouldn't have her there. For us, the public, of course, it's a no-brainer. I wouldn't even think for a second of which side you have to choose. But at the end of the day, it's very easy for us to judge. And the fact is that they, at the very end of it, you strip back the fact that they're royals, they are a family. I believe that Princess Eugenie has definitely seen the light, and until I see footage of her going over and hanging out with Harry and Meghan again, then I'm going to continue liking her. If I see that, I'm tearing up this entire video and I will say, no, actually, we'll just stick with Beatrice. But for now, I think that she would actually be very good as a working royal. The monarchy is a constant working clock with lots of moving cogs and pieces. And unfortunately, some of those pieces are getting a little bit old and they are going to need to be replaced so that everything keeps running smoothly. It was a concept that these two could never have grasped. The Queen didn't ask much from them and she gave them absolutely everything. To be a working royal means that you become a well-oiled cog as part of the working machine. It was a gift and an honour. It was not a right. It was never to be used as an opportunity for fame, fortune or self-promotion. And I think it's about time that the King has a chat with his council and he has a very serious discussion about instructing Parliament to remove their titles, because it can only be removed with an act of Parliament, but there are some times when he needs to be a king over being a father, and these are definitely one of those times. So guys, that's it for me on this video. I will be back with you very soon. Take care for now. Bye.